After 80 years, it's easy to get lost in the numbers. $300 million in assets, 700 charitable funds, nearly $13 million in annual grants to thousands of nonprofit groups in 20 towns, benefiting nearly 600,000 people. People. Take away the numbers, and the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven is really all about people. It's about people with means, some as little as $10,000, having the will and the desire to help others who need it. Why is it important? Why does it matter more now than ever before? This is Nettie Dayton. At least it would be if we had a photograph of her. The heiress to the Henry Hooker Horseless Carriage Company, Nettie lived modestly, but wanted desperately to leave a legacy to help others, no one in particular, for generations to come. Her $135,000 bequest in 1928 was the first gift ever to the foundation, and in the 80 years since has generated over $1 million in grants to deserving organizations.
Miss Dayton was an inspiration to all of us who grew up here in New Haven.
Caroline Silverthau, a member of the Silverthau family of jewelers, became the 7th donor to the foundation in 1941. Her fund mandated that proceeds provide a source of milk and coal for the poor and less fortunate among us. Such requests were and are not unusual.
My brother and I were quite fortunate in our professional endeavors. He in New York, I here in the Valley.
The Gates Fund stipulates that due concern be given to programs that benefit the inhabitants of the Derby area. And in the ensuing decades, the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven has worked hard to fulfill those philanthropic wishes or identify the ever-changing needs of charitable institutions throughout the area.
Growing up in New Haven, I devoted my life to my family and music. Religious folk singing, I used to call it. And when I finally did manage to save a few dollars, I established a scholarship fund for young musicians.
And it doesn't necessarily take a tremendous amount of money to leave such a legacy.
For my friend Doris Feldman and me, that meant grants to organizations for the testing of young children in the Hamden area for learning or emotional disorders.
While many people here in Connecticut and across America give money to charity, very few consider putting a charitable gift in their wills. Not because they don't want to, but because no one ever suggested they do so. A bequest could be the most important charitable gift you ever make. And when that gift is made under the auspices of the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, there's a guarantee. It will exist forever. It will give money annually to the organizations you care about. And on average, the assets in that fund will grow every year. A 10% return in 2007, an average of over 8% in the last decade, well above the national average.
Since I was the teacher in this group, let me show you what that means. We start with a $20,000 investment on day one. In the next half century, that fund will generate $146,000 in gifts to charity. And after 50 years, that $20,000 principal will have grown to $119,000.
And I think it's important to note that for 80 years, the foundation has become an integral part of Greater New Haven. They understand our community. In 2004, the Naugatuck Valley created its own community foundation. But by affiliating with Greater New Haven, it receives matching grants from our fund. That guarantees the Gates Fund will continue to support important services here, while it works to help Valley leaders mobilize even more local philanthropy.
My initial bequest that proceeds provide for a source of milk and coal for the poor and less fortunate among us, I'm told would not be very practical in your day and age. Once coal was replaced by gas and oil for heating, and milk came to be distributed through schools, the foundation was able to continue to serve the community by helping to provide food and shelter, certainly in line with my wishes to provide for the material needs of the poor in New Haven.
I'm not around anymore. None of us are. But our funds through the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven live on without us. Some are large, some are modest, but all are making a difference. And that's just what we always wanted.
In 1928, the New Haven Register announced the founding of the Community Foundation as gifts from public-spirited citizens to contribute to the general welfare, health, and happiness of the people of New Haven. 8 decades later, the legacy continues.